Chapter 2661. Enraged. Xiao Xiao finally recognized the pill. It's an antidote that can neutralize the toxins of all kinds of magical plants, and it smells so much more potent than what you can buy from the academy. Why do you call it candy? Huashan said, it's candy because Boss Feng Wu told me so. Grandmaster-level antidotes were crazy expensive, and the price of a panacea would be exorbitant. As a result, no one could bring themselves to buy such a pill for an event like this. However, Huashan was eating these pills as if they were candy. Do you have more? Give me some. Everyone asked Huashan for the pills. Soon, they ate up what was left in Huashan's hands. Even Yi Han jumped at the opportunity, and she was much fiercer than the others. She even scratched Huashan's face in the process. After taking the antidote, they soon realized that the itchiness was going away and they weren't in so much pain anymore. To carry so many pills on her, Feng Wu must be wealthy. Ling Hao glanced at Yi Han as he spoke. The so-called master medicine refiner's pills were nowhere near as effective as Feng Wu's antidote. Yi Han wouldn't accept it. I'm a master medicine refiner. She just bought the pills. She can't possibly be at my level. Huashan glanced at Yi Han and snorted. Boss Feng Wu said she made the pills herself. Yi Han snorted. And you believe her? These are Grandmaster-level pills. Do you think she's a Grandmaster medicine refiner? You must be dreaming. Huashan glanced at Yi Han. Why is it so unbelievable? If you ask me, Boss Feng Wu can be a supreme medicine refiner. Yi Han laughed so hard that she almost coughed blood. A supreme medicine refiner? Don't make me laugh. That's ridiculous. Yi Han. Xiao Xiao gave her a stern look. Although he didn't believe that Feng Wu was a grandmaster either, her pills had saved them all, and he had to be grateful. Yi Han smirked. For someone who acts so arrogantly, you sure grabbed the pill quick enough. Huashan glared at Yi Han. If you say one more bad thing about Boss Feng Wu, I'll have you spit out the pill. Yi Han was shocked. She stared at Huashan and couldn't believe how stubborn the man was. I'll repay you with my points when we get back. Yi Han snorted. Huashan said, you would be dead by now if you could only buy the antidote after you got back to campus. Yi Han said, what on earth do you want? Huashan said, you'll need to pay back at least 10 times what you owe. Yi Han trembled with anger. Huashan, you're going too far. Huashan said, you deserve it. That's what you get for saying bad things about Boss Feng Wu. The squabbling was giving Xiao Xiao a headache. Stop right there. We'll talk about compensation after we get back. The hunt is the most important thing right now. The 12 crystal cores were on the ground. Xiao Xiao opened his mouth. No one could deny the fact that Feng Wu was the only reason that they were able to obtain them. Without her, not only would they have lost the crystal cores, they would also have been eradicated. I'll keep those. Yi Han wanted to grab the crystal cores. Wait, Huashan was displeased. Are you our team member? Didn't you see who obtained them for us? You were saying bad things about my boss only a minute ago, and now you're trying to steal her achievements? You're so shameless. Yi Han was so angry that her face twisted. Chapter 2662. Team Xueqing. Feng Wu rushed toward the noise. Soon, she saw that a team was being chased by a magical beast. She searched her memory and recalled that she had seen one in the illustrated handbook which the school gave to students. It was a fire snow lion. It was a giant beast that was the size of a small house when it stood on its hind legs. How intimidating! It left deep footprints in the ground. Thump! 5 people were running away from it. They were of average height, but the lion was so huge that they looked like ants in comparison. Hongxue, run! 4 teenage boys ran in the front, and a girl was at the back. It seemed that the lion was going to trample Hongxue, and everyone panicked. The teenagers panicked and shouted at her, trying to urge her on. However, Hongxue was exhausted and she said, you guys go ahead. I'll cover you. Since she couldn't get away, she would die bravely and give her teammates a chance to live. Hongxue drew out her sword and turned to face the lion. Feng Wu admired her courage. However, Hong Shue wasn't competent enough to be the lion's match. She had just become a level 6 spiritual lord, but the lion was a level 6 spiritual lord already. That made the lion equivalent to a human level 7 spiritual lord at their peak. Hong Shue was doomed. Yi Hong Shue. The second last boy cried out and made a choice which surprised Feng Wu. He doubled back to help Yi Hong Shue fight the lion. Feng Wu's eyes lit up. She recalled an old joke about two people running into a bear. One said to the other, "I don't need to outrun the bear. I just need to outrun you." She saw real friendship in this team. Feng Wu wanted to intervene, but at that moment, the other three teenagers turned around and joined their teammates. Yi Hong Shue cried out, "Junqing, why did you come back? Run." Lin Junqing was covered with blood and he was heavily injured in the stomach, but he gritted his teeth. "We can't leave you behind. We'll live and die together." The other three chimed in, "We're not going anywhere." Yi Hong Shue had tears in her eyes. "Don't be stupid. You need to get away while there's still a chance." Lin Junqing smiled. "Peace Grassland was so dangerous, and our team survived it. We won't abandon you now. Let's just kill this lion." Junqing is right. We'll stick together no matter what. We'll leave no one behind. Shui Hao nodded. The other two nodded as well and joined the battle without another word. Seeing how united they were, Feng Wu hid behind a tree and didn't interfere immediately. Thump, thump, thump. The five teenagers fought the giant lion together. Feng Wu noticed the letter A on their armbands. It seemed that this team called Xueqing belonged to Class A. Chapter 2663, The Girl Who Came Out of Nowhere. Feng Wu had heard that even the weakest students in Class A were level 6 spiritual lords. However, the lion was so ferocious that the five people couldn't hold it back. Yi Hong Shue was smart. She winked at her teammates, and they soon created a formation in the shape of a star. Feng Wu nodded. That formation could amplify a cultivator's capability by 50% and was very helpful with killing moves. The lion was powerful, but with the amplification, the team could take it down. It was incredible. Together, the five members soon suppressed the lion. Everyone thought they would soon kill the beast, but it suddenly went berserk. It was like a wildfire. Surging flames almost touched the sky. The lion roared. The sound wave and the flames threw all five team members off balance. They lost all hope. At such a critical moment, the lion had gone berserk. "Run!" Shui Hao, the team leader, shouted at the top of his lungs. But where to? Everywhere they turned, there were flames and heavy smoke. The lion's energy had them trapped as if they were in a cage. They froze on the spot and couldn't move a muscle. The lion was furious. The team had blinded it in the right eye with the formation, and countless tiny bloody cuts covered its body. However, the lion was enormous, and the wounds couldn't affect it in the slightest when it was in this berserk state. The lion was an intelligent beast. The magic vine beasts were only Class B, but they were already so intelligent, let alone a Class A lion. There was a malicious look in its eyes as it stomped on the ground. Flames filled the pit, and there were sparks everywhere. Yi Hong Shue was the closest to the lion. "Hong Shue, run!" her teammates shouted. Yi Hong Shue tried to run away, but she couldn't move a finger, let alone rise to her feet. The lion was already in front of her. It raised its giant paw. "No!" The team members screamed. "We survived Peace Grassland. Are we going to be killed by a beast now? So many of our friends died, and we only killed a few Dongsang soldiers. I don't want to die now. I want to kill more enemies." No matter what they thought, the lion wouldn't spare their lives now. The lion roared and charged at the team. It was going to trample Yi Hong Shue. It was going to trample all five humans. Feng Wu made her move when the five people lost all hope. No one saw how she did it. The giant lion simply fell to the ground. The impact sent sparks and ash flying. The air was filled with dust. Yi Hong Shue stared at their savior in disbelief. The girl wore a red dress and was more beautiful than anyone she had ever met. Chapter 2664. Incredible Feng Wu. Feng Wu pressed the lion to the ground as soon as she joined the battle. The others looked at her in amazement. What just happened? Yi Hongxue was the closest, so she was the most astonished. She watched as Feng Wu jumped into the circle and kicked the lion to the ground. Are you all right? Feng Wu asked Yi Hongxue. Yi Hongxue shook her head. Feng Wu then turned to the lion, which had scrambled to its feet. It glared at Feng Wu and bared its teeth. It raised its head, growled and charged at Feng Wu. Watch out! The members of Xueqing team cried out in unison. However, Feng Wu kicked the lion again before it could touch her. Thump! The lion flew backward again. This time, the lion made a perfect arch in the air before it hit the ground. Its body continued skidding over the ground after it landed, stirring up dust. Sparks flew everywhere. Finally, things quieted down. The dust cleared. The sparks died down. The team saw what had become of the lion. It had been so proud and fierce before, but it was in such a messy state now. Its giant body sprawled over the ground, and its limbs were too weak to support its massive body. Blood oozed out from countless holes in its body. Smoke rose from its charred skin. It could barely keep its eyes open. Although its eyes were filled with hatred, the lion couldn't stand up no matter how hard it tried. Everybody could see that the life was swiftly leaving its body. In the end, it closed its eyes and never opened them again. Xue Hao cautiously approached the lion to ensure that it was really dead. He turned around and looked at Feng Wu in amazement. Xueqing team also stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. That was incredible. One kick. She had just kicked the lion, and it fell down and died. Who is this girl in red? You? Xue Hao wanted to ask her who she was. However, Feng Wu only glanced at them. Seeing that Yi Hongxue was severely injured, she crouched down next to the girl, and her fingertips glowed with green light. The green light fell on Yi Hongxue, and she was healed as everyone watched. Feng Wu rose to her feet, nodded to Yi Hongxue, and walked away. Miss! Xue Hao called after Feng Wu. But Feng Wu didn't look back and soon disappeared into the woods. The team was speechless. It took Xue Hao forever to realize what had happened. Was she even human? Of course she was. What do you think she was? A ghost? No, I mean she was like a goddess. Xue Hao said excitedly. What should I do? I think I'm in love. Yi Hongxue rolled her eyes at him. I think you should ask for permission first. Yi Hongxue, you can stand up. Chapter 2665. Telling the Truth. Yi Hongxue, you're on your feet. Xue Hao stared at his friend in disbelief. The lion had wounded Yi Hongxue so badly that she had been lying on the ground and bleeding out before Feng Wu came. Your wounds are no longer bleeding, the other team members observed. Yi Hongxue nodded. It's not just that. My wounds have almost healed. How? Oh my God. That girl is a supreme-level medicine refiner. Only a supreme-level medicine refiner could emit the green light. Medicine refiners below that level could only make pills to treat patients. If I'm guessing correctly, she's a medicine refiner who is at least at the supreme level, Yi Hongxue said in admiration. Xue Hao said, not only that, she also kicked away the lion. The others nodded. Xue Hao said, what do you think her level is? Lin Junqing said, she has to be a level 7 spiritual lord at least. Yi Hongxue shook her head. I've fought level 7 spiritual lords before, and she feels more powerful than that. Her teammates fell quiet. If that's the case, how powerful must she be? The others shook their heads in amazement. She saved our lives, and we should be forever grateful for it, Yi Hongxue said earnestly. With her capability and medical skills, she'll definitely stand out in the academy. We'll find out who she is as soon as we ask around. We left the academy for just 6 months, and such an amazing student showed up. How odd. Feng Wu went back to her team after helping Xueqing team. After all, she was going to help her team become first. She needed the reward. When she got back, Yi Han shouted at her. Feng Wu, what's wrong with you? Why did you leave us at the most dangerous moment? Huashan shouted back at Yi Han before Feng Wu could say anything. Huashan said, just because you're a woman doesn't mean I won't hit you. Say one more bad thing about Xiao Wu, and I won't be so nice. Yi Han said, what did I do? Was I wrong? Huashan said, first of all, Xiao Wu left only after she killed a dozen magic vine beasts all by herself. She also left us the antidote beforehand, and all of you took some. You. Don't you know the saying that a guest shouldn't speak ill of their host? After everything she's done for you, you've shown her no gratitude at all. You. Is Xiao Wu your nanny? She has no obligation to protect you. You. Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you talk to Boss Xiao Wu like that? You. Stop with the you already. Spit out the antidote. You ungrateful bastard. Yi Han was so angry that she almost fainted. She stared at Xiao Xiao. Aren't you going to say something? What could Xiao Xiao say? Huashan's words were harsh, but he was telling the truth. Xiao Xiao said in resignation, Yi Han, if you're uncomfortable staying with us, why don't you? Chapter 2666. Why are you on Feng Wu's side? Was he telling her to leave? Yi Han stared at Xiao Xiao in disbelief. Xiao Xiao, what's that supposed to mean? Xiao Xiao looked her in the eye. Yi Han said, fine, none of you like me. I'll go. Happy. She started walking away. Duanmu Hua looked from Yi Han to Xiao Xiao, but he didn't say anything in the end and only followed Yi Han. His teammates weren't pleased. A girl named Su Xiu frowned and muttered, why is she so willful? However, they were still on the same team, so the other team members had no choice but to follow their leader. They didn't try to hide their reluctance. No one spoke for a while after Yi Han was gone, and everyone felt somewhat embarrassed. Cheng Fang wanted to say something to Feng Wu, but kept his silence in the end. Yi Han was his friend, but Feng Wu had saved him twice. He would have to be an utterly ungrateful person to turn against Feng Wu now. Are we going to let Yi Han go just like that? Cheng Fang asked Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao said coldly, Yi Han was a proud person before, but she was at least reasonable. You've seen what she's like with Xiao Wu. We can't reason with her anymore. Ling Hao nodded. We didn't drive her away. She left voluntarily. It's not like we could have begged her to stay, right? Wang Ji nodded. She's not even on the same team with us anymore. Cheng Fang stared at his teammates in disbelief. Why are you all on Feng Wu's side? He glanced at Feng Wu as he spoke. Because Feng Wu had saved his life, he couldn't openly oppose her, which frustrated him. At least Yi Han is a master-level medicine refiner, Cheng Fang mumbled. We would be much safer with her on our side. Forget it. A master-level medicine refiner? She was just bragging. What did she do when we were attacked by the magic vine beasts? We'd all be dead if it hadn't been for Xiao Wu. Cheng Fang, use your brain. Ling Hao glowered at Cheng Fang. Cheng Fang said, but Yi Han is an actual physician, and Feng Wu was just lucky? She just happened to have the right medicine on her. Ling Hao didn't want to waste his breath on Cheng Fang. I see Xiao Wu saved you for nothing. Cheng Fang said, I'm only telling the truth. Plus, I'm only concerned about the safety of our team. That's enough. Stop fighting. Xiao Xiao intervened. We have a choice to make. Be quiet and listen to me. The others all looked at him. Xiao Xiao said, we now have the crystal core of an advanced Class B magical beast and a dozen crystal cores of peak-level Class B magical beasts. Our team should be in second or third place. But the hunt will only end in 3 days, so we have a choice to make. Should we be content with what we already have and go back to school, or should we keep hunting? The question got the others thinking. Wang Ji said, we've already obtained the biggest achievement we've ever made. Our team has never been in the top 3 before. We'll receive satisfactory rewards if we go back now. Ling Hao said, that's right. Normally, we should be happy with making it into the top 3. However, why are we here? Are we really going to stop now? Chapter 2667. To tell you the truth. Ling Hao said, "Do you think the school sent us here just to hunt magical beasts? I think they want us to train in actual battle. Once we join Class A, we'll see a real battlefield." Wang Ji nodded. "The dangers we've seen here in Thousand Nights Forest are nothing compared with the battlefield. No one can get out unscratched." Ling Hao said, "If we're lucky, maybe we can get first place." "In your dreams?" Xiao Xiao was in disbelief. "Top 3 is already a miracle for us. First? Who are you kidding?" Everyone else nodded. Cheng Fong said, "So, does everyone agree that we'll keep fighting?" Xiao Xiao hesitated for a while before he looked at Feng Wu. "Feng Wu, what do you think?" Immediately, all eyes were on Feng Wu. Feng Wu had already made up her mind. She didn't care what place the team got, but she needed to be the best student. She said, "I suggest you guys go back first." Ling Hao spoke before Xiao Xiao could say anything. "Feng Wu, are you afraid? Do you want to retreat?" Feng Wu shook her head. "No, I don't." "Then what do you mean?" Feng Wu met his eyes. "Do you want the truth?" Ling Hao said, "Spare me the crap. I don't have time for this. Tell me the truth." Feng Wu said, "The truth can be harsh." Ling Hao patted his chest and said proudly, "I'm a tough man. I can take it." Feng Wu nodded, looked around, and casually said, "You're too weak." Ling Hao coughed. That was some harsh truth. Not only Ling Hao, but Xiao Xiao and the others also flushed in embarrassment. Feeling resentful, Cheng Fong snapped at Feng Wu, "Just because you saved us doesn't give you the right to say such arrogant things." Feng Wu shook her head. "I'm only stating a fact." Cheng Fong was mortified by that statement. Taking a deep breath, he said, "Are you saying you're so much better than us? What level are you, then?" The others looked at Feng Wu, also curious about her cultivation level. Feng Wu smiled. "I could fight a dozen magic vine beasts with my bare hands." The harsh truth once more. "And I was far from reaching my limit," Feng Wu added. That was brutal. Cheng Fong wanted to retort, but he couldn't deny that Feng Wu was telling the truth. He hated to admit it, but Feng Wu had indeed had 12 magic vine beasts under her control. That was far more impressive than killing them. "You?" Wang Ji calmed down and asked Feng Wu, "What's your plan?" Feng Wu looked back at him. "What do you think my plan is?" Being the most intelligent team member, Wang Ji realized something. "Do you want to get first place? You want the top prize, don't you?" "You must be out of your mind." Cheng Fong shouted at Feng Wu before she could say anything. "There's no way you can get that prize. It's been determined beforehand." Whoosh! All eyes were on Cheng Fong. What was that supposed to mean? Chapter 2668, Dynasty Team. Realizing that he had said the wrong thing, Cheng Fong looked away and pretended that he didn't know anything. "Cheng Fong, do you know something we don't?" Xiao Xiao stared at him. Cheng Fong wouldn't answer the question. Wang Ji frowned a little. "I recall that your brother is in Class A, and he's a member of the seeded team." Cheng Fong shook his head. "I don't know anything about that. Please stop asking me. I can't tell you anything." It only confirmed that what he had said was true. His teammates didn't like the sound of that at all. Xiao Xiao frowned. "As far as I know, the leader of the seeded team is Chen Ziyun, the president of the Martial Arts Society. Has he already chosen a candidate? Is it Shan Jingfei?" Wang Ji looked at Cheng Fong. Cheng Fong said coldly, "Don't ask me. I can't tell you anything." The others took his answer for a yes. "Is Chen Ziyun in love with Shan Jingfei?" Ling Hao asked curiously. Wang Ji shook his head. "Chen Ziyun isn't that type of person. Qiu Ziyu is more likely to do something like that." Ling Hao asked, "Qiu Ziyu? As in the second-best student in the seeded team?" Wang Ji said, "I saw Qiu Ziyu taking walks with Shan Jingfei before." Xiao Xiao glanced at Wang Ji. Wang Ji was a discreet person. He wouldn't have said something like that if those two people had really just been walking together. He must have seen something else. Wang Ji nodded when he saw the look in Xiao Xiao's eyes. Xiao Xiao shrugged. He had probably guessed correctly. "Forget about first place, then," Xiao Xiao told Feng Wu. Let's go back. Fengwu said, you guys go ahead. Xiao Xiao said sincerely, Fengwu, you have to accept the fact that we can't get first place. Fengwu asked why. Xiao Xiao lowered his voice. That spot has probably been determined in advance. You can't win, no matter how hard you try. Fengwu smiled. Is it because of that Qiu Ziyu you mentioned just then? There was silence. Fengwu was still smiling. He won't be a problem. Huashan agreed. Qiu Ziyu was nothing. Fengwu's backer was a much more influential person. However, Xiao Xiao and the others didn't know what Huashan knew, so they only found Fengwu stubborn. Fengwu, you probably don't know what it means to be a member of the seeded team. Xiao Xiao tried to explain to her. We're only in Class B, so the team is normally beyond our reach. You've only just joined us. Understandably, you don't know what an intricate matter this is. Here's the thing, members of the seeded team are the most capable students in the entire academy. Seeded team isn't its official name. It's called Dynasty Team. Fengwu was surprised. Dynasty Team? Are they actually allowed to use that name? Xiao Xiao smiled bitterly. If you know who the team's founder is, you'll understand where that name came from. The person who founded the first Dynasty Team was His Royal Highness, said Xiao Xiao. I think you know who that is. Many years had passed since the engagement between Fengwu and the Crown Prince was said to have been annulled. Most people had forgotten about it. Chapter 2669. Never Give Up. However, Zhuo Qingwan had deliberately brought it up again, and many people remembered the incident once more. Xiao Xiao and the others gave Fengwu sympathetic looks. Huashan was so angry that he wanted to jump to his feet. What the hell? Fengwu was still engaged to the Crown Prince, and the Crown Prince had ordered Chen Ziyun to keep her safe. Xiao Xiao and his teammates knew nothing. Xiao Xiao didn't notice Huashan's frustration, and he went on with his explanation. Dynasty Team consists of 10 members, 5 of whom are official members and 5 who are backup members. The last Dynasty Team was incredible. Because both His Royal Highness and young Lord Feng were members of the team, no one else dared to put up a fight. As a result, Imperial College became the best school in the empire. However, the team's strength has been on the decline ever since the old members graduated. Of course, that's only in comparison with its heyday. Imperial College is still better than other schools. A member of the team was severely wounded in Peace Grassland and almost died. Because of that, there's currently an open slot in the team. To ensure that the right person is chosen for the team, the school is recruiting 2 students. Although the candidates will become backup members, many people of Class A are competing for that opportunity. Class B ordinarily wouldn't have the opportunity. If I'm guessing correctly, Qiu Ziyu must have requested that quota for Shan Jingfei. He must have pulled a lot of strings. He looked Fengwu in the eye. Why don't we give up on that quota? The other team members looked at Fengwu as well. It was supposed to be Shan Jingfei's big moment, and Fengwu should know when to quit. However, Fengwu smiled. Giving up has never been an option for me. What? Are you going to stay in the game? Ling Hao couldn't believe his ears. She might look like a fragile and tender girl, but she was more formidable than anyone could imagine. She was almost glowing when she said she refused to give up. It was unbelievably attractive. She told the others, you guys can go back first. Just don't hand in the task yet. She walked away after that. Meanwhile, the Yi Han thought Xiao Xiao would stop her when she walked away. After all, she used to be the center of the team and the members doted on her. However, no one said anything even after she dawdled and walked as slowly as she could. She was furious. She resented Xiao Xiao and the others for not helping her, but most of her hatred was directed toward Fengwu. It was all because of Fengwu. Fengwu had replaced her. Fengwu had stolen the spotlight. Fengwu had taken everything. She hated Fengwu so much. Yi Han. Seeing that Yi Han was in a bad mood, Duanmu tried to comfort her. Don't talk to me. Yi Han gave him a dirty look before walking away. Yi Han, where are you going? Duanmu called after her. Yi Han shouted, leave me alone. She quickly marched away. Her actions hurt Duanmu's feelings. Chapter 2670, Shan Jingfei's Team. Duanmu. Su Siyu, one of the team members, stomped her foot. She doesn't even like you. All she does is order you around, and you're still all over her. Grinding his teeth, Duanmu still wanted to chase after Yi Han. Su Siyu said, she's obviously using you to make Xiao Zhao's team jealous. When she couldn't do that, she found you a burden and abandoned you. Yet here you are, still trying to get her back. Shut up, Duanmu bellowed at Su Siyu. Su Siyu lost her temper. I know you're angry, but I'm still going to say it. As outsiders, we can see that Feng Wu is the reasonable one, while Yi Han keeps making outrageous requests. She's not trustworthy. Duanmu looked like someone had stepped on his foot. Shut up. Su Siyu smirked. Shut up? Why do you think you can talk to me in that way? Because you're our team leader. Duanmu, you're the team leader, but you don't own the position. You don't get to order us around. We're not courting your crush for you. You're only a team leader when we think you're a good fit for the job. Otherwise, you're nothing. Duanmu said, Phew. Su Siyu stared at Duanmu and wouldn't be intimidated. She used to be an obedient team member and had never opposed him like this before. Duanmu looked at the two other team members for recognition. However, they were also looking at him in anger and disappointment. Anger and disappointment. Duanmu went pale as if he had been struck by lightning. He thought, what am I doing? These are my closest friends. Meanwhile, Yi Han was sure that Duanmu would try to persuade her to go back. However, after a while, she realized that Duanmu wasn't coming after her. Yi Han thought she was going to lose her mind. What was the matter with this world? Had she been abandoned by everyone? Feng Wu. Yi Han blamed Feng Wu for everything that had happened to her. She believed that if it hadn't been for Feng Wu, she would never have ended up like this. She wanted revenge. But how? Could any student in Class B defeat Feng Wu? Yi Han calmed down and started thinking. Driven by her hatred for Feng Wu, Yi Han actually came up with a feasible plan. Shan Jingfei. Yi Han smacked a tree. Shan Jingfei was the top student of Class B. Yi Han was confident that Shan Jingfei disliked Feng Wu. Her eyes glinted. She remembered the direction Shan Jingfei had left in, so she quickened her pace. It seemed luck was on her side. She actually ran into Shan Jingfei's team. Gu Xingyuan, Xen Jishuan and two other members were on Shan Jingfei's team. When she saw Shan Jingfei, Yi Han feigned an exhausted state and wailed. She fell to the ground and started rolling down the slope. Shan Jingfei's team soon spotted her. Their team was called Jingjing Team. Jingfei, I think I heard something. Xen Jishuan stuck out her head and saw a person rolling down the slope. Chapter 2671, Enemy's Enemy. Don't be distracted. Focus. We need to kill this magical beast first, Shan Jingfei said coldly. Other people saw Shan Jingfei as some innocent and kind girl, but Xen Jishuan knew better. Shan Jingfei was anything but that. She was cold and unsympathetic. It sounds like Yi Han, doesn't it? Xen Jishuan was going to ignore the noise until she saw who the person was. Just like Yi Han, Xen Jishuan didn't like Feng Wu either. She spotted an opportunity when Yi Han showed up. I'll be right back. Xen Jishuan dashed off before Shan Jingfei could say anything. She came back with Yi Han a few minutes later. Yi Han. By then, Shan Jingfei had killed the magical beast and was collecting the crystal core. Her first thought when she saw Yi Han was how sorry the latter looked. Yi Han's hair was unkempt and her disheveled clothes were covered with grass and dirt. She looked more wretched than a beggar. Was that really Yi Han? Because Yi Han used to be the only girl on her team, Xiao Xiao and the others had protected her well. Being the second most popular girl in class, Yi Han had always been proud of herself. She looked nothing like her old self now. Yi Han, what happened? Where's your team? Why aren't Xiao Xiao and the others with you? Xen Jishuan asked, feigning a concerned tone. The old Yihan would never have shown her weak side to Shan Jingfei, but now, she couldn't care about anything else. She burst into tears when she heard the question. Are you badly hurt? Where are your teammates? Xen Jishuan pretended to actually care about Yihan. Yihan cried even harder. They don't care about me anymore. Feng Wu is their new pet, and they'll do whatever she says. I don't have a place in that team anymore. Feng Wu. Xen Jishuan and Shan Jingfei didn't pay much attention to Yihan until she mentioned that name. Gu Xingyuan also observed Yihan. Shan Jingfei gave Xen Jishuan a warning look, and the latter nodded. Xen Jishuan asked Yihan as she treated her wounds, Did Feng Wu chase you away? She seems nice. I can't believe she would do such a thing. Yihan thought, what a lousy actor. She could tell that both Xen Jishuan and Shan Jingfei disliked Feng Wu. With that in mind, she thought she could work with these people. Yihan was also pretending. Feng Wu is just so pretty, of course all the boys like her. Xiao Xiao used to be in love with Shan Jingfei, but he likes Feng Wu now. Shan Jingfei's face darkened. She didn't have feelings for Xiao Xiao, but the change in his attitude was a blow to her personal pride. Seeing Shan Jingfei's livid face, Yihan was secretly delighted, but she still had to keep up her aggrieved expression, and she went on complaining. It's not just Xiao Xiao. Ling Hao, Wang Ji and Cheng Fang are all the same. They're all over Feng Wu as if she's some kind of princess. Chapter 2672, Reputation. Yihan said, Guess what? Feng Wu accepted all their kindness toward her. She's so. Xen Jishuan said, so promiscuous? Yes. Yihan started trashing Feng Wu's reputation. She knew how vital reputation was to a young woman. Once that was destroyed, the woman would have nothing left. Other people would have scolded Yihan for what she was doing. However, nearly everyone here was Feng Wu's enemy and couldn't wait to see her in distress. As a result, no one spoke up for Feng Wu, and they all gloated at her predicament. Seeing that no one objected, Yihan went on. After saying a few more bad things about Feng Wu, she felt it was time to move on to the next subject. It's not that I don't want to fight her, but she's too powerful. How's that possible? Xen Jishuan asked incredulously. She's a new student, and you've been in Class B for a while. How can she be more capable? Yihan smiled bitterly. Feng Wu took out 12 magical beasts all at once. Xen Jishuan said indifferently, all the students in our class can handle 12 junior Class B magical beasts at the same time. No, they weren't junior ones, Yihan said bitterly. They were all advanced magical beasts. No way. Xen Jishuan couldn't believe her ears. Yihan wasn't telling the truth. They were actually peak-level Class B magical beasts. She feared that if she told the truth, Shan Jingfei wouldn't dare fight Feng Wu anymore. Yihan nodded. They've collected at least a dozen crystal cores from advanced Class B magical beasts. How many do you have? Is that true? Xen Jishuan stared at her. Yihan smirked. I was with them just then and saw it with my own eyes. Ask Duan Muhua if you don't believe me. They saw it too. Shan Jingfei's face darkened. Xen Jishuan also gave Shan Jingfei a knowing look because she was aware of the inside information. It had been determined in advance that Shan Jingfei would come out first in this hunt. Qiu Ziyu had said so himself. If Feng Wu came in first, Qiu Ziyu's effort would be wasted. I don't believe you. Xen Jishuan glanced at Yihan. I'll ask the others. She then walked off. She came back an hour later. Shan Jingfei gave her a searching look. Xen Jishuan nodded solemnly. Shan Jingfei's face went livid. So, Yihan was telling the truth. Shan Jingfei felt conflicted. She should have anticipated it because Feng Wu had defeated her in front of all the tutors. After that, she knew she wasn't Feng Wu's match, but she had been trying to keep that information from everyone else. Xen Jishuan said tentatively, I think Feng Wu does have some talent. We may not be her match if we're on our own. Shan Jingfei nodded. I see. She walked into the woods after that. Xen Jishuan grew suspicious. That wasn't right. Shan Jingfei was too calm. She should have been astonished when she learned how capable Feng Wu really was. Chapter 2673, Deception. However, Shan Jingfei had calmly accepted the truth and walked away. That could only mean one thing. She already knew that Feng Wu was better than she was. But when? When had she started acting strange? When Xen Jishuan searched her memory, she realized in surprise that Shan Jingfei's behavior changed after Mr. Yang summoned her the day before Feng Wu came to Class B. How did Feng Wu get into Class B? She had to have defeated some existing members of the class. OMG! Xen Jishuan suddenly had a shocking realization. Could that person have been Shan Jingfei? It was hard to believe, but it was also the only possibility. Xen Jishuan almost couldn't contain her excitement in the short period that Shan Jingfei was away. If that was the case. She pretended she knew nothing when I mocked Feng Wu. She made me look like a clown. Xen Jishuan was furious. But she soon fought back her rage and looked as calm as she could manage. Shan Jingfei came back a few minutes later. She was smiling, light on her feet, and in a good mood. Xen Jishuan asked, Fei, do you think it's possible that Feng Wu is more capable than you are? Shan Jingfei smiled. So what if she is? I'm not afraid of her. Was she admitting that Feng Wu was better than she was? Xen Jishuan didn't want to give up yet. Fei, did Feng Wu get into Class B after she challenged you? She was trembling inwardly when she asked that question. Shan Jingfei's face darkened, and she scolded Xen Jishuan. Don't ask about things you don't understand. Xen Jishuan was disappointed. She knew Shan Jingfei well enough to see that the girl would have denied it already if it wasn't true. Xen Jishuan was angry from the embarrassment. She felt like a clown and flushed. Being as self-centered as always, Shan Jingfei didn't detect the change in her friend's mood. She was still immersed in complacency. Don't worry. I'll definitely be first this time. Yi Han's eyes lit up. Can you change the data in the system? Shan Jingfei rolled her eyes at Yi Han. If I could do that, do you think I would still be here? Of course, she wouldn't. Yi Han was disappointed. Shan Jingfei smirked. Qiu Ziyu will give me a hand. Is he coming here to help us? Xen Jishuan knew that Shan Jingfei talked to Qiu Ziyu via a communication device. The range of that device was limited to school grounds. Thousand Nights Forest was within that range. He's too busy to come out here, but he'll send someone. Shan Jingfei added, they're students of Class A's. Yi Han looked at her in amazement. Students? More than one? Of course. Shan Jingfei said proudly. A Class A team is on a mission nearby, so Ziyu asked them to give me a hand. Qiu Ziyu cares so much about you, Yi Han said. Chapter 2674, Old Acquaintance. Qiu Ziyu cares so much about you, Yi Han said. Shan Jingfei smiled and took it for granted. However, she didn't see the look on Xen Jishuan's face. Xen Jishuan lowered her head to hide the complicated feelings in her eyes. Soon, a 5-member team showed up. Hello, I'm Xue Hao, the team leader of Xueqing team. Xue Hao greeted Shan Jingfei with a smile. They would have gone back to school after they ran into the Berserk Lion, but thanks to Feng Wu's excellent medical skills, they were all in good shape now. Therefore, they accepted Qiu Ziyu's request when he gave them the mission via the communication device. Helping Shan Jingfei kill some magical beasts would be a piece of cake for the Class A students. Shan Jingfei was pleased to see them and gave Yi Han an arrogant look. Yi Han had to stay humble around Shan Jingfei, so she fawned on the girl and showered her with praise. Shan Jingfei was delighted, but she tried to look modest. She then struck up a conversation with Xue Hao. The task for Xueqing team was straightforward. They were to help Shan Jingfei kill 24 peak-level Class B magical beasts. All Class A students could do that easily enough. I know a place where we can find peak-level Class B magical beasts, and there's a whole pack of them, Shan Jingfei told Xue Hao. They're purple rats. They're small but fast, and they can move underground. They'll be hard to catch. Shui Hao wanted to finish this mission as soon as possible and go back to look for the girl in the red dress, so he nodded without hesitation. Purple rats are junior class magical beasts. We hunt them all the time. Let's go. Shui Hao led his team in the direction of the rats. At that exact moment, Feng Wu was talking to her teammates. You guys can go back now. I'll hunt some more magical beasts here and get back before the hunt ends. We'll submit the task together. She knew she had to get first place. Xiao Xiao gave her a sympathetic look and was amazed by how stubborn she was. Let's vote, then, said Xiao Xiao. Put up your hand if you want to stay here with Feng Wu. Whoosh! Hua Shan was the first to raise his hand. The second was Ling Hao. Ling Hao, are you sure? Cheng Fong stared at him. Do you know where you're going? You may be headed for the advanced Class B region or even the Class A zone. Are you sure you can do it? Ling Hao chuckled. If it wasn't for Feng Wu, I would already be dead. I owe her my life. Ling Hao asked Cheng Fong, what about you? Cheng Fong frowned. I'm in bad shape. I need to go back and take some time to recover. Ling Hao understood. Cheng Fong had always liked Yi Han, but Yi Han had been forced to leave this team. It was understandable that he felt conflicted about Feng Wu. In the end, Wang Ji and Xiao Xiao decided to leave. The 6 members were divided into 2 groups. They went their separate ways after they bid each other farewell, unaware of what was going to happen next. Chapter 2675. Encounter. To their surprise, the ground started shaking when they were about to leave. They all lost their footing. What was going on? Everyone was shocked. The ground cracked open before they realized it. Fall back. Xiao Xiao shouted. He quickly jumped to one side. The others followed suit. However, the ground was opening up too fast. The cracks were opening up in all directions. Run! Everyone panicked and shouted. But they weren't quick enough. Human strength seemed so petty in comparison to the force of nature. Ah! Cheng Fong screamed. He had been poisoned twice, so he was the weakest and slowest member of the team. As a result, he was the first to fall into the crevice when the ground opened up. Cheng Fong. The other members of the team went pale and tried to grab him. But they were too late. They could hear Cheng Fong scream as he fell. They didn't have time to weep because they weren't out of danger either. Not even close. More and more cracks were opening up. They weren't fast enough to outrun them all. Before long, another disaster took place. Help me! Ling Hao shouted. A vine appeared in Feng Wu's hand when Ling Hao fell. It immediately stretched out, wrapped around Ling Hao's wrist, and pulled him back up in a whoosh. Ling Hao was ghastly pale. Still in shock, he said to Feng Wu, "Feng Wu, thank you." However, he heard another scream before he could finish. Turning around, he saw Wang Ji. He panicked. Wang Ji was falling. In a split second, another vine wrapped around Wang Ji's waist. Ling Hao let out a breath of relief. But he wasn't relieved for too long because it was Xiao Zhao's turn. He began to fall. Ling Hao thought he was going to lose his mind. Feng Wu wasn't a spiritual king. She was already helping 2 people. There was no way that she could help a third one. He was sure that his team leader was going to die. Wang Ji felt the same. To their surprise, Feng Wu produced a third vine. It wrapped around Xiao Zhao's right ankle and pulled him back. The 3 boys let out breaths of relief and stared at Feng Wu in astonishment. How capable was she that she could stop all 3 of them from falling at the same time in a critical moment like this? They had always assumed that Feng Wu was only slightly better than they were. It was only now that they realized the disparity in their capabilities. Feng Wu, Xiao Xiao tried to say something. Feng Wu finally brought the 3 of them to a safer zone, where they stood on solid ground once more. However, Chapter 2676, Falling. Just then, the cracks had stopped expanding earlier, but the ground started to crack again. This time, they were expanding faster than before. Everyone was falling before they knew it. Ah! They all screamed. Feng Wu and her teammates were all falling. Feng Wu could hear the wind whooshing in her ears. Ling Hao and the others panicked, but Feng Wu was as calm as ever. She had always been this way. The greater the danger, the more composed she was. She narrowed her eyes when they were about to hit the bottom. She knew that the final part was the most important. All their lives were on the line. "We're going to die," Ling Hao shouted. The fear of death had overwhelmed them. Feng Wu was the youngest, but she was incredibly calm. She shouted, "Shut up, all of you. Shut up." Ow. It was human instinct to scream when they were scared. Feng Wu had never sounded so severe. "Everyone, get ready to land." Land? Where? How were they supposed to get ready for that? Each person was as baffled as the next. They involuntarily tried to believe her and do as she said, but they didn't know how to get ready. Feng Wu stared at them. "Bring your knees up, curl your arms around them, and bury your head in your lap." The fetus position. Obviously, the others didn't know what the fetus position was. But they understood the first part. They held their knees together and ducked their heads before they realized what they were doing. Feng Wu shouted, "I'm going to count down from 3. At 1, I want everyone to roll forward. Listen carefully. If you don't follow instructions and make the wrong move, you'll get everyone killed." The others gritted their teeth nervously. None of them wanted to become a burden. 3, 2, 1. At 1, Feng Wu focused all her energy on the vines. She whipped the vines in the air, counteracting the momentum of the fall. Thump. All 4 people landed. Just as Feng Wu had instructed, they quickly rolled forward when they touched the ground. They kept rolling until they no longer felt the momentum. Xiao Xiao was the first to stop. He smacked into a rock, which made him see stars, and it felt like his bones had shattered. It was so painful that he was almost in tears. Luckily, his head had been protected. Despite the loud noise, all his wounds were superficial. Luckily, he stopped rolling. He lay flat on his back and heaved a sigh of relief. He survived. His teammates were luckier than he was because they slowly rolled to a stop. Ling Hao was panting as his heart pounded. That had been a terrifying fall. "We must have fallen at least 1,000 meters. Ling Hao stuttered. Chapter 2677. Incident. 1,000 meters? It felt like tens of thousands of meters, at least. Xiao Xiao scrambled toward his friends when he finally could breathe again. "Is everyone all right? Anyone hurt?" Xiao Xiao was worried. Ling Hao said, "I'm still alive." Wang Ji said, "I hurt my leg, but I'll live." "Feng Wu, where's Feng Wu?" Xiao Xiao shouted. Everyone started looking around nervously. Feng Wu was the only reason they were still alive, and they hoped nothing had happened to her. Feng Wu said, "Don't worry. I'm fine." She then looked up. They had fallen thousands of meters into this place. They were at the bottom of a deep pit, and the nearest ledge was a few hundred meters above them. They didn't know what was happening on the surface. "Can you walk?" Feng Wu glanced at them. Ling Hao pointed at his belly in frustration. A branch had pierced his abdomen when he fell. Xiao Xiao walked over and cried out when he saw Ling Hao's injury. "Ling Hao, how do you feel? You're so badly wounded. Why didn't you say anything earlier?" Ling Hao smiled bitterly. "I already consider myself lucky to have survived that fall. This wound is nothing." Xiao Xiao said, "Your belly has been pierced. You'll die without proper treatment." Ling Hao struggled, trying to stand up. "It's not that serious. Yi Han is our only physician, but she's not here. No one can treat me now. Let's find a way out of here first. I can tolerate the pain." Feng Wu crouched down and studied the wound before he could stand up. "Xiao Xiao is right. Your wound is very severe. If we don't remove that branch, you'll die from an infection if the blood loss doesn't kill you first." Ling Hao was usually a dauntless man, but what Feng Wu said made him break into a cold sweat. "But we don't have a medicine refiner here. What am I going to do? I'm going to die, aren't I?" Ling Hao's voice trembled. Feng Wu patted him on the shoulder before she told Xiao Xiao, "Hold him down. Don't let him move around." Xiao Xiao didn't know what Feng Wu wanted to do, but she had saved them a few times already, so he saw her as their last hope. He would do whatever Feng Wu told him to do. He quickly walked up to Ling Hao's side and held him down. "What are you doing?" Ling Hao stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. Feng Wu grabbed the branch with her right hand. Ling Hao panicked. "Feng Wu, you're not a medicine refiner. What are you doing? Are you going to pull the branch out?" Feng Wu measured the branch and did some calculations in her head. She didn't look at Ling Hao when she said, "You're right, but you don't get a prize." "Oh my God!" Ling Hao and Xiao Xiao both stared at Feng Wu. "You're not a medicine refiner." Chapter 2678. I'm a medicine refiner. Feng Wu stared at the two boys in resignation. "If I'm not one, who do you think is?" she asked impatiently. Ling Hao said, "How can you be a medicine refiner?" Feng Wu didn't know what to say. "Why can't I be one? Haven't I saved you many times already?" Xiao Xiao said, "Yes, but with pills. You can buy those from the shops." Feng Wu said, "I've never bought any medicine in my life." While Feng Wu distracted Ling Hao with the small talk, she grabbed the branch and pulled. Whoosh! The branch was pulled out and blood gushed out. Ling Hao screamed. "I'm going to die. I'm going to die." Feng Wu rolled her eyes at him, and dots of green light flew out of her fingertips. The green dots were natural essence. It was well known that someone had to be at least a supreme-level medicine refiner to activate such essence. It could treat any disease and injury. Everyone was astonished when they saw the natural essence dancing in the air. "Oh my God! Feng Wu!" Xiao Xiao was so astonished that he forgot to blink. It was astonishing. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The green light flew into Ling Hao's wound. The wound started healing. Xiao Xiao didn't want to believe it at first, but he had no other choice. There wasn't anything wrong with his eyes. This was happening. Feng Wu really was a supreme-level medicine refiner? Feng Wu, don't tell me you're a supreme-level medicine refiner. Even Ling Hao found it hard to believe. Feng Wu rolled her eyes at Xiao Xiao. "Don't make a fuss about it. I'm just a supreme-level medicine refiner." They made it sound like it was such an incredible thing. Xiao Xiao didn't know what to say. Supreme-level medicine refiners were supposed to be so rare and so precious in the empire. Why did Feng Wu make it sound so ordinary? Ling Hao's wound healed quickly after Feng Wu used the natural essence on him, and a scab had formed on his abdomen already. "All right, you can get up now." Feng Wu patted Ling Hao on the shoulder. Ling Hao stared at her. "All right? I'm all right? You've got to be kidding me." Feng Wu shrugged. "Can't you tell if you're all right or not? Just walk around." That was right. Ling Hao smacked his forehead and rose to his feet with Xiao Zhao's help. His eyes lit up when he took the first step. His belly didn't hurt anymore. He could walk. Looking down, he saw that not only had the wound scabbed over, even the scab was beginning to fall off. Holy crap! Ling Hao had never been treated by a supreme-level medicine refiner before, and it felt incredible. "Feng Wu, you really are a supreme-level medicine refiner." It finally hit Ling Hao. Feng Wu shrugged. "I guess." In fact, Feng Wu was better than that, and Ling Hao could have made an even bolder guess. Chapter 2679. Save him. Feng Wu turned to Wang Ji after saving Ling Hao. Wang Ji was lying still on the ground, and she hurried to his side. His right leg was covered in blood, and a bone was sticking out. "Oh my God!" Ling Hao cried out. "Wang Ji, you've endured so much pain. This is so bad, but you didn't make a sound." Wang Ji smiled bitterly. It's not like it would have made any difference. Feng Wu examined Wang Ji as Ling Hao spoke to him. The injury was a tricky one. It was his knee. However, it wasn't too tricky for a supreme-level medicine refiner. Feng Wu soon cured Wang Ji. Wang Ji looked at the scab on his knee before he stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. He had been lying some distance away from the others and could only listen when they had shouted in surprise. He had thought that Feng Wu couldn't possibly be a supreme-level medicine refiner. However, he realized how terrifyingly capable Feng Wu was when she cured his leg. Was she even human? Feng Wu looked at them and asked, "Is everyone all right?" "Yes. We're all fine." Everyone looked at Feng Wu in admiration. All the doubts they had about her had disappeared. They admired and even worshipped her from the bottom of their hearts. "We're still short one person." Xiao Xiao finally remembered who was missing. Cheng Fang. He was the first to fall. "Where is he?" "Cheng Fang." Everyone went silent for a split second. Yes, Cheng Fang had been the first to fall. Because of that, Feng Wu hadn't had time to protect him. "He was close to us when he fell. Let's look for him." Xiao Xiao didn't lose hope. They climbed out and looked in all directions. Soon they heard Ling Hao shouting, "Come here! It's Cheng Fang!" Everyone ran in his direction. They spotted Cheng Fang when they were close enough. Ling Hao was flustered. "I don't think I can move him. Feng Wu, help him." Ling Hao looked around and gave Feng Wu a pleading look. The other two boys were looking at her the same way. Feng Wu had saved Cheng Fang twice today, but he was still on Yi Han's side. Ling Hao said, "Feng Wu, if you save him, I promise." Feng Wu waved him off. She didn't care about how Cheng Fang felt about her. She would save whomever she wanted to save. No one could persuade her otherwise if she didn't want to do anything. It was all up to her. She then examined Cheng Fang. He was severely injured. He had fallen right into a crack. However, he was fortunate. He had fallen onto a tree first, which significantly reduced the speed of his fall. Chapter 2680, Save Him Again. If it wasn't for his luck, Cheng Fang would have been turned into a pulp by the fall. Feng Wu was surprised after she examined Cheng Fang. "He's not dead," Feng Wu said coolly. "He's not? You can save him, can't you? Please help him. Please." Ling Hao and the other two boys begged Feng Wu. Ling Hao said, "We know Cheng Fang hasn't been the most polite person, but that's because he has a crush on Yi Han. I think he'll come around after this." Feng Wu smiled wryly. She had never cared about what Cheng Fang thought of her. Her only concern was that she was running out of natural essence. She had used it twice, and it would take her some time to recharge once she used it up. She said, "I can help him, but I may not have enough natural essence. Yes, I have enough to save him, but if any of you get injured before I can replenish it, I won't be able to help you." Xiao Xiao nodded solemnly. "I choose to save him." His teammates made the same choice. Feng Wu glanced at Huashan. Huashan said impatiently, "I don't like him because he was mean to Boss Wu." "However, forget it. I won't protest." Ling Hao patted his shoulder. "That's my man." Feng Wu shrugged. Since they had all chosen to save Cheng Fang over themselves, Feng Wu wouldn't stop them. She was a little touched by their friendship. Cheng Fang was severely injured, but Feng Wu's natural essence could work miracles. The time she spent on Cheng Fang was longer than what she had spent on Ling Hao and Wang Ji together. It took her a whole 15 minutes. Done. She looked slightly pale when she rose to her feet again. Wang Ji felt a little guilty and asked Feng Wu, "Are you all right?" Feng Wu waved at him. "I feel drained. You're pretty much on your own for the next 24 hours. The others all nodded, feeling guilty for what had happened. Cheng Fang suddenly opened his eyes. Everything was blurry at first, but his vision soon recovered. He saw Xiao Xiao, Wang Ji and Feng Wu. "Cheng Fang is awake!" Ling Hao cried out, ran to Cheng Fang's side and helped him sit up. Cheng Fang breathed in, but the chest pain he anticipated never came. He was perplexed. "Is this hell? Are we all dead?" "Oh, shut up." Ling Hao smacked his head. "No one's dead. We're all alive." "That hurts." Cheng Fang shouted in pain. That also woke him up. He looked at his teammates and then at himself. "Holy crap," he shouted. He vividly remembered the fall. He had fallen on a tree halfway down, and then went on falling. He also remembered how severe his injuries were. He had been covered in wounds and couldn't even move a finger. But now... Chapter 2681. You should thank Feng Wu. He felt utterly healthy now. Although he still had wounds, they were nothing compared with his original state. What happened? Am I dreaming? Cheng Fang stared at his friends in disbelief. Ling Hao patted him on the shoulder. You should thank Feng Wu. Cheng Fang still had complicated feelings about Feng Wu, so he frowned and asked reluctantly, What are you talking about? Ling Hao smacked him on the head. Do you know how severe your injuries were? You were lying there and covered in blood. Your breathing was so weak that we thought you could die at any moment. Cheng Fang said, I know that. I hit a lot of things when I was falling. I thought I was already dead. Ling Hao said, You would have been, if Feng Wu hadn't treated you. Seeing that Cheng Fang wasn't convinced, Xiao Xiao chimed in. Ling Hao is right. You were barely breathing when we found you, and we could have lost you. He then pointed at Feng Wu, who was cultivating on the other side. Thanks to Feng Wu, who didn't mind your attitude toward her, she exhausted herself trying to save you. You owe her your life. Feng Wu had saved Cheng Fang 3 times already in total. Cheng Fang was dumbfounded. She was exhausted? But how? She just needed to feed me some pills. Oh, shut up. Ling Hao smacked him on the head again. You're an idiot. Cheng Fang was confused. Why did Ling Hao say that? He had seen it with his own eyes. Xiao Xiao snapped at Cheng Fang, Your information needs to be updated. Do you really think Feng Wu only hands out pills? Cheng Fang asked, Isn't that the case? Yi Han is the... Xiao Xiao and the others looked at one another in frustration. Yi Han is what? Ling Hao said sarcastically. Are you trying to say that Yi Han is the master-level medicine refiner? Cheng Fang stared at the others. Wasn't that obvious? Why did they have strange looks on their faces? Ling Hao shook his head. Yes, Yi Han is a master-level medicine refiner, but you shouldn't brag about her in front of a supreme-level medicine refiner. It only makes you sound foolish. Cheng Fang was dumbfounded. A supreme-level medicine refiner? Do we have one here? Ling Hao crossed his hands behind his back and raised his chin. Of course we do. Cheng Fang laughed. You're not talking about yourself, are you? Ling Hao glanced at him. Cheng Fang stopped laughing. There really is one. Ling Hao said, Would you be alive otherwise? Cheng Fang's stomach lurched. Although he hated to admit it, something seemed to have happened to him. He asked tentatively, Surely you don't mean Feng Wu? Ling Hao grinned. Cheng Fang looked over his shoulder at Feng Wu and was astonished. Chapter 2682, Secret Essence Mine. No, I don't believe you. I won't. Cheng Fang shook his head in disbelief. All his teammates gave him indescribable looks. Cheng Fang was astonished. You? Man, just accept it? Ling Hao smiled bitterly. We've all been there. Feng Wu saved Wang Ji and me as well. We all owe her our lives. Cheng Fang said, So, it's true. He was still in a state of shock. Ling Hao said, We all saw it with our own eyes. Do you think we're all lying? Cheng Fang didn't know what to say. He blushed and glanced at Feng Wu. A supreme-level medicine refiner. She was so young, but she was already a supreme-level medicine refiner. She's just a new student and only joined us a few days ago. Cheng Fang sighed as he looked at Feng Wu, who was cultivating with her eyes closed. His friends felt the same way. She was so young but had already achieved so much. It was as if they didn't belong to the same world. But I guess God is fair. Since she's a genius medicine refiner, she can't be an advanced cultivator at the same time, said Cheng Fang. Otherwise, no one else would have a chance. Ling Hao asked, Are you sure about that? Cheng Fang looked at him in confusion. What was he missing? Ling Hao patted Cheng Fang on the shoulder. I wouldn't be so sure. Of course Feng Wu was a talented cultivator. It had only been days since she joined the War Academy, but she had risen directly from Class E to Class B. As for her ranking, other things aside, if she could save all three of them with the vines at a critical moment, it was clear enough that she was more capable than Shan Jingfei. She was definitely the best student in Class B now. Why are you all looking at me like that? Cheng Fang was dumbfounded. He felt that he had missed so many things. Ling Hao patted him on the head. Observe and stop talking. You'll see. Cheng Fang didn't know what to say. Feng Wu opened her eyes at that moment. Xiao Xiao asked excitedly, Feng Wu, have you recovered? Are you all right? Do you need a few more minutes? Feng Wu shook her head. I'm fine. Let's go. Thanks to her treatment, everyone was in reasonably good shape. Without her, they would be too wounded or crippled to walk. Before long, they reached a giant building. In fact, it was more like an underground cave. It was an enormous, magnificent cave. To be more precise, they were in the belly of a mountain that had been cut open. Look, there's something written on the wall. Ling Hao shouted. The others moved closer and saw something at the entrance of the cave. It read, Secret Essence Mine. Oh my God, it's the legendary Secret Essence Mine. Xiao Xiao cried out. Everyone turned to him in unison. Do you know about it? Xiao Xiao nodded. Chapter 2683, A Swordsman in White. He knew. What is this place? Ling Hao asked the question everyone wanted to ask. Xiao Xiao hesitated. Ling Hao said, Captain, we don't have any other choice. If we want to get out, we'll have to go into this mountain. If you know something and if you're at liberty to reveal it, could you please tell us? Xiao Xiao nodded. It's not a secret. I read about this mine in a school magazine. It's supposed to have existed for as long as the school has. Lu Mingzong, the founder and first principal of Imperial College, mined spiritual stones here and used them to set up the college. But because of geological changes and some other reasons, the secret essence mine was buried underground, never to be found again. Who would have thought we would run into that mine here today? Is it the secret essence mine which shocked the entire continent? Ling Hao asked curiously. Xiao Xiao nodded. Yes, it shocked a lot of people. 100,000 tunnels were built to harvest the stones, and at least 1 million miners were buried in these mountains. He looked at his teammates. The exit out of the mine is inside the mountain. That was to say, they could never get out if they didn't go inside. What a bummer. Do you feel cold? Someone asked. It was Cheng Fang, the weakest of them all. Cold? How can it be cold? We're students of Class B, we should be used to the cold weather. Chew. Ling Hao sneezed before he could finish. His cheeks flushed from the cold, and he couldn't stop sneezing. What's happening? Why is it so cold all of a sudden? Someone shouted at that moment. Look! Everyone looked up at the sky. They saw 2 people in the air. One was a woman in a purple dress. Her hair was so long that it touched the ground. She had a flawless complexion, but her lips were bright red, and her eyebrows were tiny dots. Feng Wu saw her face in the distance. Something about that woman's appearance made her uneasy. The other one was a swordsman in a white robe. He was in his early 20s and carried a long sword on his back. His robe flapped in the wind, giving him an ethereal look. Neither of them spoke, but Feng Wu could feel their terrifying energy. It was so intimidating. What were their cultivation levels? They were at least spiritual kings. The swordsman drew out his sword. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. Shit! She felt that her life was under threat. Feng Wu had always had good instincts. Therefore, run. Get into the mine. No. She had never urged anyone like this before. It was obvious that Feng Wu was now the leader of this team, so everyone rushed into the cave as soon as she gave the command. The next second. Chapter 2684. Who is he? 1. The swordsman drew out his sword. No one could describe that move. They thought their eardrums were going to split open. They swayed and spat out mouthfuls of blood. The ground opened up again. This time, the cracks were even wider. OMG! Seeing this, they all realized what had happened earlier. The ground hadn't opened up for no reason. There was a rumbling noise when they ran into the cave. The swordsman struck. It was such terrifying power. No one could describe such power. Everyone was injured. They all spat out blood, Feng Wu included. Countless big rocks fell down from above like a downpour. Go inside. Feng Wu activated her magic soul vines. The vines wrapped around the others and threw them into the mine. The mine was protected by a formation, which had probably been set up by Looming Zone. It was able to stop all the falling rocks. It made sense. Since the cave hadn't collapsed after so many years, the formation was definitely working. How are you doing? Feng Wu tugged at Huashan when she saw him lying motionlessly on the ground. Cough, cough. Huashan spat out the mud in his mouth and woke up. The others all had scratches of varying degrees, but none of them were severely injured. Cheng Feng was shaking. He had seen how the vine wrapped around his waist and threw him into the mine. Only then did he realize how capable Feng Wu really was. Xiao Xiao, check on everyone, Feng Wu told Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao now understood Feng Wu's real power, so he did as he was told. Sure. Feng Wu looked outside the cave while Xiao Xiao was examining the others. The two people had landed outside the cave. The woman in the purple dress had been sliced in half, and the swordsman stood there with blood dripping down his sword. Finally, Feng Wu could see the woman's face clearly. She was right. The woman had little dots for eyebrows and red lips, and was wearing wooden sandals. She didn't look like a native of the Junwu Empire. Suddenly, the swordsman turned around and glanced at Feng Wu. It was so cold that it seemed to curdle Feng Wu's blood. Huashan and the others felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave, and they had difficulty breathing. His eyes were so frightening. What a terrifying aura. Time seemed to stop. Huashan and the others turned around and didn't dare give him another look. They all trembled for fear that the man would want to kill them next. Are we going to die? They looked at one another and all went pale. Were they going to be killed? Were they going to die here? They all wondered the same thing. Why are you guys here? Someone behind them asked. Feng Wu and the others turned around and saw another team come out from deeper inside the cave. Shan Jingfei led the team, and she was followed by Yi Han. Shan Jingfei threw a dirty look at Feng Wu and told the others, "Be quiet." Cheng Feng was excited to see Yi Han. Yi Han, there you are. Chapter 2685. Who is he? 2. Yi Han angrily cut Cheng Feng off. We were hiding safely in this mine, but you just had to barge in. If that swordsman kills us for what we saw, it's your fault. Cheng Feng immediately stopped talking. Shan Jingfei also glared at Feng Wu's team and wanted to kill them all. Feng Wu suddenly rose to her feet. She moved toward the entrance of the cave. Was she going out there? What are you doing? Everyone shouted in unison. Even Xiao Xiao and his teammates were shocked. They all wanted to huddle together, and hoped that the swordsman wouldn't notice them. Why would Feng Wu want to go out of the cave now? Feng Wu found the man familiar, and felt that she had seen him somewhere before. She rushed toward the entrance without hesitation. Stop her! Shan Jingfei shouted angrily. But Feng Wu was already outside. Shan Jingfei gritted her teeth and ran after Feng Wu. With a wave of her hand, rocks fell, blocking the entrance. They could only look out of the cave through a narrow gap. Feng Wu was outside while everyone else was inside. What are you doing? Xiao Xiao and his teammates glared at Shan Jingfei. Huashan was furious. How can you do that to Feng Wu? Have you lost your mind? Ling Hao pushed Shan Jingfei. Move. Out of my way. Shan Jingfei only stood there and smirked. She ran to her own death, and none of us could stop her. If you want to die with her, move the rocks yourself. It's none of my business. She thought that her words would intimidate Xiao Xiao and his friends. After all, she was the class president, and believed that every boy in the class was in love with her. To her surprise, these boys had stopped worshipping her. Xiao Xiao was the first to work on the rocks. Wang Ji, Ling Hao, Huashan and even Cheng Fang joined him, moving the rocks away from the opening. Shan Jingfei was furious. Xueqing team also realized what was going on. They had been astonished when they saw Feng Wu just then. How was that possible? They had been saved by a Class B student. How? That student was from Class B. Xue Hao decided that now wasn't the right time to figure out who the girl was. They had to save her first. They joined Xiao Zhao's team and started working. Shan Jingfei was fuming. Xue Hao, Yi Hongxue, what are you doing? Why are you helping Feng Wu? Stuff. Shan Jingfei was so furious that her face twisted. Yi Hongxue looked at Shan Jingfei and asked coldly, "Are you giving us orders now?" That chilled Shan Jingfei to the bone. Yi Hongxue was right. Xueqing team was here to help her kill magical beasts, and Shan Jingfei had no right to give them orders. However, they shouldn't be assisting Feng Wu either. Shan Jingfei decided to complain to Qiu Ziyu after she went back. Chapter 2686, Spiritual Saint. While Shan Jingfei was having a row with Xueqing team, Feng Wu was observing the swordsman outside the cave. The man didn't expect to see anyone come out after he demonstrated his full strength, let alone a slender young girl. He wasn't interested in a girl like Feng Wu, and he was ready to leave after killing the woman. He didn't even bother to look at Feng Wu and had no idea what she looked like. However, Feng Wu ran toward the man. The man ran too fast. He was soon out of sight. "Hey, stop!" Feng Wu shouted after him. However, the man ran off without so much as turning his head. Feng Wu stomped her foot. She had seen that man somewhere before, but where? She couldn't put her finger on it. She then looked at the foreign woman. The dead body had already started decaying from the head downward. She was as dead as could be. Yes, she wasn't from the Junwo Empire. The magic soul vines stirred violently in Feng Wu's sleeves. Feng Wu opened her palm, and the vines quickly stretched out. Soon, the vines wrapped themselves around the dead body. Feng Wu saw the vines quickly absorb whatever was left of the woman's spiritual essence. However, she was decaying too fast. The vines were only halfway done before the body broke down completely. The vines reluctantly retreated and became tiny dots on Feng Wu's wrists. Meanwhile, a storage necklace fell into her hand. Feng Wu's eyes lit up. The woman was powerful enough to fight against the swordsman. Her necklace had to be worth a fortune. However, Feng Wu didn't remember seeing it around the woman's neck. She had probably hidden it somewhere. Feng Wu wouldn't have found it if she didn't have the vines. How lucky! She was going to examine the necklace she had obtained by accident when people started coming out of the cave. Huashan was in the lead, followed by Ling Hao. Feng Wu, are you all right? Huashan's hands were blistered from carrying all the rocks. He was so worried. Feng Wu wasn't just anyone. She was the crown prince's favorite girl. Huashan knew he was dead if Feng Wu was abducted or killed. She slipped the necklace into her chest pocket and nodded. "I'm all right." "Where's the swordsman?" Ling Hao asked curiously. Feng Wu said, "He's gone." Ling Hao asked, "Just like that?" Feng Wu said, "Did you expect him to stick around to buy you lunch?" Ling Hao said, "Feng Wu, you know that's not what I meant. It's good that he's gone. He's just too scary. He's scarier than our principal." "Who is he?" Xiao Xiao said, "I don't know who he is, but he's definitely a spiritual saint or hierarch." A spiritual saint. Chapter 2687, Our Great Junior-Level Medicine Refiner. Ling Hao couldn't believe his ears. He can't be. The Junwo Empire doesn't have more than a handful of spiritual saints. Xiao Xiao said, "I think he's even more capable than that." Ling Hao said, "Xiao Xiao, now you're just exaggerating." Xiao Xiao said, "I'm not." Shan Jingfei and Yi Han charged out of the cave. Shan Jingfei glared at Feng Wu. She glanced at Xen Zhishuan since it was about time that Xen Zhishuan scolded Feng Wu on her behalf. However, she didn't know that Xn Jishuan resented her for her deception and had decided not to speak up for her. Seeing this, Yi Han felt that it was an opportunity to curry favor with Shan Jingfei. "Feng Wu, what's the matter with you?" Yi Han pointed at Feng Wu. "You could have gotten all of us killed. If you want to die, feel free to do so, but don't drag us down with you. You could have upset the swordsman. What if he had gotten angry and killed all of us? You saw how terrifying he is. He created this big valley with one slash of his sword. Killing us would be easier than breathing for him." Yi Han lashed out at Feng Wu. Cheng Fong frowned. He had thought Yi Han to be a kind and cool-headed person, but why did she appear as mean as Xn Jishuan now? "I think that's enough," Cheng Fong tried to hint to Yi Han when he saw that all his teammates were frowning. However, Yi Han was annoyed. She felt that even Cheng Fong had switched sides. "You're all fooled by her good looks. All of you are taking her side. One day she'll get you killed. She's a burden." Yi Han shouted at them. Ling Hao smirked. "We're the ones who are a burden. As for getting us killed, Feng Wu saved all our lives." Yi Han didn't know what to say. "Now you're making up stories. With her capability, how can she do that?" "Cheng Fong, answer me. How did she save you?" Cheng Fong said, "She cured me." Yi Han laughed. "She cured you? With what? Pills? She sure carries a lot of pills on her. Other than that, what does she have? Is she a medicine refiner now? Can she make potions?" To her surprise, Xiao Zhao's team all stared at her in a strange way, including Cheng Fong. Yi Han wondered why that was. The look on Ling Hao's face was full of mocking. Cheng Fong felt sorry for Yi Han, so he told her, "Feng Wu is a medicine refiner." "A medicine refiner?" Enraged by Ling Hao's smirk, Yi Han said, "I see. She's the greatest junior-level medicine refiner, is she?" Shan Jingfei laughed. But she immediately realized that as the class goddess, she shouldn't gloat. She cleared her throat and said, "Excuse me." She then watched as Yi Han made a fool of herself. Chapter 2688, Supreme Level Medicine Refiner. Shan Jingfei loved nothing more than seeing Feng Wu get humiliated. However, Xiao Xiao and the others gave Shan Jingfei inscrutable looks. They had seen her as an impeccable goddess, but her reaction so far disappointed them. Shan Jingfei couldn't care less. She had never cared about small people like Xiao Xiao. She only wanted to do what made her happy. Hence, she gave Yi Han an encouraging look. Yi Han became more confident. She sneered at Cheng Fong. "Tell me, is Feng Wu, the girl you can't stop singing praises about, a great junior-level medicine refiner?" Cheng Fong hadn't been able to bring himself to disagree with Yi Han before, but he finally saw that Yi Han had never been the helpless girl he had assumed her to be. Instead, she had always been a bully. Feng Wu had saved her life, but when Yi Han got the chance, she immediately turned on Feng Wu. Cheng Fong then thought about what he had done. Feng Wu had saved him several times, but each time, he had chosen Yi Han's side. He realized he had also behaved like an ungrateful person, just like Yi Han. Cheng Fong flushed at the realization. Seeing that Cheng Fong had fallen silent, Yi Han thought he couldn't keep up the lie. She became even more aggressive. "What? Are you too scared to continue? Keep bragging. Please." Cheng Fong was furious. Feng Wu is a supreme-level medicine refiner. Everyone fell silent when he shouted those words. Yi Han was astonished. So was Shan Jingfei and her teammates. Time seemed to freeze for a few seconds. "Ha ha!" Shan Jingfei and her teammates burst out laughing. Yi Han was the loudest one. She held her stomach with one hand and supported herself against a tree trunk with the other, laughing so hard that she couldn't stand straight. Tears flowed down her cheeks. "Gosh, I thought I was going to laugh to death. Is that what you're trying to do? Kill me with laughter?" When Yi Han finally stopped laughing, she pointed at Cheng Fong and said, "I would have believed you if you called her an intermediate or even senior-level medicine refiner. You got ahead of yourself when you called her a supreme-level medicine refiner. Do you even know how rare it is to find one?" Cheng Feng rolled his eyes. He knew Yi Han wouldn't believe him. He wouldn't believe it either if he hadn't seen Feng Wu's outstanding medical skills with his own eyes. However, that was the fact. His teammates had all seen it. Cheng Feng looked back at Xiao Xiao and the others. Xiao Xiao and his friends had bitter smiles on their faces as well. Cheng Feng was at a loss over what to say. Yi Hongxue wanted to step out. She wanted to say that Feng Wu was indeed a supreme-level medicine refiner. Feng Wu had saved her and her teammates with the green natural essence. However, Shan Jingfei intervened. Supreme-level medicine refiner or not, it doesn't mean anything now. Yi Hongxue was speechless. Shan Jingfei walked up to Feng Wu and suddenly raised a hand. There was a mysterious smile on her face. Chapter 2689. The Truth Revealed. Feng Wu, why don't we explore this secret essence mine together? Shan Jingfei made the invitation in a condescending tone. Xiao Xiao and his friends frowned. Before, they would have thought that Shan Jingfei was trying to be friendly. However, after they learned what a capable cultivator and medicine refiner Feng Wu was, they were embarrassed by Shan Jingfei's attitude. If Shan Jingfei knew Feng Wu's true capability, she would probably be mortified by what she was doing today. Shan Jingfei looked into Feng Wu's eyes with a perfect smile on her face. Despite the smile, she came off as someone who was extremely arrogant. Feng Wu shook her head without hesitation. I don't like working with you. Xiao Xiao and his friends smiled at one another. That was indeed something Feng Wu would say. How incredible! Not anticipating such a reply, Shan Jingfei felt humiliated. She stared at Feng Wu. Are you turning down my invitation, then? Feng Wu almost felt sorry for the girl. What makes you think you're qualified to make that invitation? That was direct. Shan Jingfei couldn't keep up the facade anymore. She glared at Feng Wu. What's that supposed to mean? Feng Wu had never thought much of Shan Jingfei. If Shan Jingfei hadn't assumed that air, Feng Wu would have ignored her. Feng Wu didn't mind slapping someone else's face when presented with the chance. You're too young to experience memory loss, Feng Wu said casually. Have you forgotten how I got into Class B? Shan Jingfei went ghastly pale. Feng Wu's words felt like a slap to her face. She glared at Feng Wu. You. Feng Wu gave her a sympathetic look. I was going to let it drop. After that test, everyone should know who the top student of Class B is, but you just have to challenge me. Fine. Let's get things straight. Get what straight? Are you saying you're better than Fei Fei? Xen Zhishuan snapped. Who the hell do you think you are? Do you think you can do better than her in this hunt? Xen Zhishuan tried to provoke Feng Wu. Shan Jingfei threw a dirty look at her. Feng Wu smiled at Shan Jingfei. So, Shan Jingfei, who's going to tell them? Me or you? I don't know what you're talking about. Shan Jingfei wanted to walk away. Feng Wu casually said, all the tutors were there that day. So was the deputy principal. Do you deny that I defeated you? What? Everyone looked from Feng Wu to Shan Jingfei. Xiao Xiao and the others had only suspected that Feng Wu might be better than Shan Jingfei, but they couldn't be sure without seeing them in a match. However, Feng Wu had just made it official. The two girls had fought each other before. Shan Jingfei flushed with fury. She clenched her fists. Her face twisted. She hated Feng Wu so much. Why did she say it out loud in front of everyone? Was she showing off? Chapter 2690. How exciting! Life had always been smooth sailing for Shan Jingfei, and everyone looked up to her. Such humiliation was unheard of. She spun around and glared at Feng Wu. Shan Jingfei was the dream girl of many boys. Anyone else would feel uneasy when she stared at them. But Feng Wu wasn't just anyone. She was very calm and continued smiling at Shan Jingfei. All eyes were on the two girls. How exciting! Xen Zhishuan stared at Shan Jingfei, at least feeling avenged. The satisfied look disappeared almost instantly. No one caught that look except for Feng Wu. Feng Wu, I'll remember this. Shan Jingfei quickly recovered from her initial frustration. She readjusted her mood and directed all her hatred toward Feng Wu. Fine. You did defeat me in that test. Wow. Everyone sucked in their breaths. She said it. Shan Jingfei said it herself. She admitted she had lost to Feng Wu. Everyone else couldn't help but recall some of the rumors they had been hearing. Rumor was that Feng Wu was a student without talent and was one of the worst in her class. However, Shan Jingfei should have known better. She used to be the top student in Class B, but she chose to go with the flow after losing to Feng Wu. She just let the rumor spread. Why did she let that happen? That made the entire class look bad. A class president shouldn't do such a thing. Once everyone realized that, they began to look at Shan Jingfei in a different light. She used to be the goddess of Class B and even the entire War Academy. However, that reputation seemed to be fading. Shan Jingfei realized it as well and became even more frustrated. Shan Jingfei glared at Feng Wu with eyes filled with fury. I only lost once. Why are you being so smug? Feng Wu glanced at her. What? Would you prefer to lose more than once? Ling Hao burst into laughter. Everyone looked at him. Ling Hao said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Please continue. Shan Jingfei ground her teeth, whereas Feng Wu remained perfectly unperturbed. Shan Jingfei was so angry that she laughed. Feng Wu, I've met a lot of students from Class A, but none of them are as arrogant as you are. Do you think you're such a big deal? Fight someone from Class A. I dare you. Feng Wu gave no reply. Shan Jingfei then presented some shiny crystal cores. Do you know what these are? She smirked. Feng Wu glanced at her, still looking unaffected. However, Ling Hao and the others cried out, Oh my God! They're crystal cores of junior and intermediate class magical beasts. There are 24 of them. Ling Hao stared at Shan Jingfei in disbelief. Where did you find them? Shan Jingfei was a capable student, but she wasn't skilled enough to obtain as many crystal cores as a Class A student could. Chapter 2691. I'm on Feng Wu's side. Only students from Class A can do that. You? Ling Hao stared at Shan Jingfei. That was what Shan Jingfei had been waiting for. She smirked. That's right. Some students from Class A helped me with these crystal cores. She then looked at Xueqing team behind her. The members of Xueqing team felt embarrassed. They wouldn't feel so awkward if Feng Wu was merely a student from Class B. However, she just happened to be the big shot who had saved their lives. Yi Hongxue was about to say something when Feng Wu shook her head. She sighed in resignation. Ling Hao's face darkened. Shan Jingfei, that's cheating. Ling Hao glared at Shan Jingfei, his face livid. Shan Jingfei smirked. Feng Wu doesn't have a good boyfriend. She can't blame anyone but herself. Yi Han went on. Chiozyu asked Class A students to help Jingfei. First place has already been determined. No one but Jingfei will have it. You can all stop trying. She was talking to Feng Wu. First place was predetermined. Everyone looked at Cheng Fong since he had mentioned it earlier. Cheng Fong nodded, confirming Yi Han's claim. That's not fair. Ling Hao shouted. How can Class A get involved? That's not a fair game. Yi Han said, get some Class A students to help you, then. Cultivation isn't everything. A lot of the time, your connections are part of your capability. Shan Jingfei gloated. The secret essence mine is full of danger. Are you sure you don't want to join us? Feng Wu smirked. Shan Jingfei smirked back before turning to Xiao Xiao and the others. I'm inviting you on my team. If you abandon Feng Wu, I'll permit you to join my team. You'll be under my protection. She was trying to drive a wedge between Feng Wu and the others. In a critical moment like this, she was confident that those people would give up on Feng Wu. At least, that was what she would do. But she was disappointed. Huashan smirked. I'll never join you. I support Feng Wu. He thought, if you're so proud of your boyfriend in Class A, wait until you find out who Feng Wu's boyfriend is. You'll be so jealous. Shan Jingfei smirked, believing that Huashan was as dumb as Feng Wu was. However, the others followed suit. Ling Hao said, "I'll never join you. I support Feng Wu." Ling Hao was an old Class B student, but he had just turned against Shan Jingfei. Xiao Xiao stepped out and said the same thing. Shan Jingfei was shocked. Wang Ji also chimed in. Shan Jingfei was shocked. Even Cheng Fong, who hadn't liked Feng Wu so much at first, said the same thing in the end. Shan Jingfei was so furious that she thought she was going to lose her mind. What was wrong with these people? Chapter 2692. Aren't you coming? Do you have a death wish? Yi Han stared at Cheng Fong. Are you an idiot? They're too stupid to cherish their lives, so you're going to do the same? Cheng Fong shook his head. I just feel that I have a higher chance of staying alive with Feng Wu. Shan Jingfei and Yi Han couldn't believe their ears. Xen Jixuan didn't think that way. When she calmed down and tried to analyze the situation, she realized that Cheng Fong might be telling the truth. Maybe Feng Wu really was a supreme-level medicine refiner, no matter how slim the chance was. Shan Jingfei said, "Fine. If you want to die, be my guest. This is your last chance. I won't ask you again." She walked away after that. Her teammates followed her. Yi Han smirked when she walked past Cheng Fong. Cheng Fong took Yi Han's sleeve and said sincerely, "Yi Han, you really should come with us. I mean it. Feng Wu will help us. She's a supreme-level medicine refiner." Yi Han said, "You idiot." She threw off his hand with so much force that Cheng Fong stumbled. Yi Hongxue and her team were the last to leave. She suddenly asked Feng Wu, "You're Feng Wu, you said?" Feng Wu nodded. Yi Hongxue said, "We accepted Qiu Ziyu's request, so we have to do this. However, if you find our conduct unacceptable, we'll terminate this assignment immediately." The others all nodded. Feng Wu had saved their lives. This task was nothing in comparison. Yi Hongxue didn't know what impact those words had on Ling Hao and the others. Ling Hao and his teammates had been prepared to fight the powerful Class A students. However, these students were showing Feng Wu a lot of respect. That tone. One word from Feng Wu, and they would stop helping Shan Jingfei. Wasn't that a bit over the top? Did Shan Jingfei know that? All eyes were on the arrogant Shan Jingfei, who was as vain as a peacock. She was leading the team away and was too far away to hear them. Shan Jingfei thought Xueqing team was on her side, but she couldn't be any more foolish. They realized how ridiculous Shan Jingfei was. Feng Wu smiled at Xueqing team. "How do you feel?" Yi Hongxue smiled. "We're much better now. Thank you for your help, or we would have." Feng Wu waved her hand. "Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. But it means all the world to us." Yi Hongxue and her teammates meant every word. At that moment, Shan Jingfei finally realized that Hert's patrons hadn't caught up with her team. She turned around to find Xueqing team talking to Feng Wu. She couldn't believe it. She bellowed, "Feng Wu, they accepted my task. How dare you try to steal them away?" Steal them away? Somehow, that sounded entirely accurate. Yi Hongxue wanted to explain, but Feng Wu said, "Don't worry about it. You do what you need to do now. If you want to return the favor, we can always talk about it when we get back." Yi Hongxue gritted her teeth and nodded. "Hongxue, what are you doing there?" Shan Jingfei sounded threatening. Chapter 2693. 80,000 underground tunnels. Yi Hongxue's face darkened. Shan Jingfei lost her temper because she was worried that the other team would really switch sides. Feng Wu had a strange ability to make people follow her. It had been the case with Xiao Xiao and his team. At that thought, Shan Jingfei ran back to Yi Hongxue and shouted at Feng Wu. "Do you want to steal them as well? They're from Class A. They won't follow you just because you try to recruit them. Don't make me laugh." She then turned to Yi Hongxue. "Hongxue, let's go." Yi Hongxue gave Feng Wu a regretful look. After what Feng Wu said, they had to follow Shan Jingfei. Ling Hao and the others only came back to themselves after Shan Jingfei and her team left. "Did I hear correctly?" Ling Hao was surprised. "Feng Wu, did you save their lives?" Xiao Xiao was equally surprised. Their Xueqing team, which is one of the top teams in Class A. Xiao Wu, did you save them? Feng Wu nodded. Anything wrong with that? Of course not, said Ling Hao. Yi Hongxue said so, and of course, we believe you. I just find it hard to imagine. Everyone was astonished. Feng Wu, you have to understand, before we came here, we thought you were one of the weakest students in Class B. Do you remember? I was shamelessly telling you that I could let you tag along and help you out. The thought made Ling Hao blush. But you kept showing us your capability along the way. You defeated the magic vine beasts and demonstrated that you're a supreme-level medicine refiner. Amidst everything else, you also helped Xueqing team. We've also just learned that you got into Class B by defeating Shan Jingfei, and you're in fact the top student in our class. We need some time to digest everything. It could be so stressful being on the same team as Feng Wu. Feng Wu said grumpily, digest it while we walk. This secret essence mine is big. There are 80,000 underground tunnels, and we can easily get lost. Be careful. Xiao Xiao said, I have some rope. Let's tie it around our waists. That way, if something goes wrong, we won't be separated. After that, Feng Wu led the team and was followed by Huashan, Ling Hao, Wang Ji, Cheng Fang and Xiao Xiao. They all tied the rope around their waists so that no one in the team would be separated. 80,000? The idea made Ling Hao want to die. Can we get out? They all looked at Xiao Xiao because he was the one who had brought up the 80,000 tunnels. Xiao Xiao said, I don't have a map, but even if I did, it's still easy to get lost in a dark cave like this. I don't know what we should do. They all looked at Feng Wu. She was going to be their savior. Feng Wu smiled. We'll get out. Ling Hao said, but how? On the surface, we can use the sun, the growth rings on tree stumps, or flowing water to figure out the direction. How do we know where we're going in such narrow tunnels? Feng Wu said, do you know who that swordsman is? Everyone shook their heads. Ling Hao asked, do you? It was a familiar face, but Feng Wu couldn't recall who he was. She shook her head. I don't for now. However. Chapter 2694, Level 8. Feng Wu smiled. We all know how formidable that man is. He created this big valley with a single strike and exposed this underground mine. Everyone nodded. They had all seen it. Feng Wu then said, but do you know why this secret essence mine remained intact? Why is that? The others asked. Because it's protected by a formation, said Feng Wu. That swordsman has some terrifying skills. When he created this valley with his strike, the temperature dropped by 100 degrees. There was no way we could have survived out there. We had to enter the secret essence mine. Because of the formation, however, the inside of the mine is constantly changing. We'll get lost even if we stay still. Therefore, we must find our way out of here. Otherwise, we'll all die. Feng Wu looked at the other team members. We can't wait for the school to rescue us. Because the people have to know formations as well. Otherwise, they'll be trapped in these 80,000 tunnels as well. If they stayed here, they would freeze to death. If they entered the mine, they might get lost and die. I don't think we have much chance of getting out of here alive, Ling Hao murmured. Everyone felt defeated. Were they so close to death? Feng Wu smiled. Enough with the bad news. Here's some good news. Everyone stared at her. What? Has the formation stopped working? Do we have a map? Do we have a lot of supplies? Everyone's eyes lit up, and they all started asking questions. Feng Wu shook her head. Everyone was disappointed by her reply. She then told them something else. I want to congratulate you because I'm on your team. So, you know formations? Ling Hao stared at Feng Wu in amazement. Feng Wu nodded. Yes. Everyone was astonished. Feng Wu asked, you don't believe me then? Everyone shook their heads. No, we believe you. Having seen Feng Wu's magnificent capability and medical skills, they would believe anything she said. Yes, she was young, but her capability had never been limited by her age. What level are you in terms of formations? Xiao Xiao knew a little about formations and remembered that Imperial College's defense formation was level 8. Feng Wu said, level 8. Xiao Xiao stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu asked, is it so hard to believe? Xiao Xiao said, come on. Of course it is. Our school's formation is level 8. Feng Wu said, the one in school is a combination of numerous level 8 formations. It's much more powerful than an ordinary one. Xiao Xiao said, that's correct. Imperial College's defense formation is a combination of countless formations. Are you really a level 8 formation master? Feng Wu nodded. That's right. Xiao Xiao didn't want to believe it. If they believed her, it would make them look like idiots in comparison. Could someone really be so perfect? Chapter 2695. Save them. What's the level of the formation in this mine? Xiao Xiao asked. Feng Wu thought for a moment before saying, level 8.5. To be more precise, the outer circle is level 8 and the center is level 8.5. Xiao Xiao stared at Feng Wu in surprise. The others stared at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao had said that there were 80,000 tunnels underground, which meant that he knew the secret essence mine better than anyone else. Is that true? The others all asked him. The question roused Xiao Xiao from his astonishment. He looked from Feng Wu to the others before he nodded repeatedly. Onji! Where did Feng Wu learn that? Ling Hao immediately realized how she had known. Feng Wu, you really understand this formation. Can you break through it? Feng Wu shook her head. No, I can't, but it's really easy to walk through it and reach the central area. Really easy. Everyone stared at her in resignation. It was anything but easy. They were thrilled that they had teamed up with such a capable cultivator. Feng Wu said, I'll take the lead. You guys hold the rope and follow me. Don't get lost. Remember, there are 80,000 tunnels down here. Take a wrong turn, and you may be trapped here forever. Hearing her grave tone, the others grew serious as well. They walked in silence. Feng Wu said, we should be out in 3 hours. The others nodded. That was much better than they had expected. About an hour later, they heard someone crying for help. Help! Help me! Cheng Fong said nervously, it's Yi Han. Yi Han's in danger. Feng Wu, please help her. The others didn't say anything, but deep down, they hoped that Feng Wu would help her. Feng Wu smirked. Do you know where her team is right now? Cheng Fong shook his head. They're 30,000 tunnels away from us, Feng Wu said grumpily. 30,000? How can we hear her then? Cheng Fong was perplexed. Feng Wu said, because of the formation. Seeing that Feng Wu was growing impatient, Cheng Fong didn't dare say another word. Xiao Xiao nodded at Cheng Fong. Yi Han and her teammates had been so arrogant and rude to Feng Wu. Why should she help them? But Cheng Fong felt conflicted. These are human lives we're talking about here, and Yi Han isn't the only one. There are at least 10 of them, including Xueqing team, Cheng Fong said in a low voice. Feng Wu glanced at him. Take this. She then put a paper crane in his hand. She had just made it herself. She casually said, this paper crane will take you to them. Cheng Fong couldn't believe his ears. Feng Wu said, go ahead. I thought you wanted to save them. Cheng Fong said, Feng Wu said, after you find them, follow the paper crane. It'll take you to the core of the formation. I'll only wait 3 hours. If you still haven't come by then, I'll open the core and leave this place with your other teammates. Cheng Fong felt like crying. He hadn't planned to help Yi Han himself. Why had it suddenly become his mission? Chapter 2696, Regret. Cheng Fong's hands shook. Feng Wu smiled and gave him a meaningful look. She had had enough of Cheng Fong. All he ever did was make requests while he just stood on the side and watched. She only tolerated him because he was a member of the team. If she had her way, she would have given up on him after she saved him once. But Cheng Fang gave Xiao Xiao a pleading look. Xiao Xiao was going to offer moral support when Ling Hao tugged at his sleeve and gave him a warning look. The realization struck him. Feng Wu was displeased. If Xiao Xiao tried to speak up for Cheng Fang, she might suggest that he go with Cheng Fang. That wasn't the worst-case scenario. The worst possibility was that Feng Wu might be disappointed in them. At that thought, Xiao Xiao shook his head at Cheng Fang. He had to be considerate. No one took Cheng Fang's side. Cheng Fang was almost in tears. Feng Wu patted him on the shoulder. Off you go. Cheng Fang had used up all his excuses. Taking the paper crane, he slowly walked away, looking over his shoulder every few steps. He hoped that Feng Wu would tell him to come back, but he waited and waited, and nothing happened. When he turned back again, his team had walked out of sight. He was all alone. He wanted to rush back to his team. However, the paper crane took off at that moment. It flapped its wings and gave Cheng Fang a contemptuous look. Even a paper crane was mocking him now. Cheng Fang felt like crying. The crane started flying away. Cheng Fang was in a difficult spot. He couldn't bring himself to go back to his team. However, he didn't think he was capable enough to find Yi Han and save her. Moreover, the cave was massive. Take a wrong turn, and one could be lost in it forever. It was terrifying to walk alone in this place. Even a grown man couldn't live with that fear. After that mocking glance, the paper crane flew even faster. Hey, wait for me. Cheng Fang ran after it. Without the paper crane, he would get lost in the 80,000 tunnels. He would lose his mind. The paper crane was flying just fast enough that he could catch up with it if he walked as fast as he could. He was filled with fear and he was exhausted. He stumbled through the tunnels, his face streaked with tears. Why couldn't he just keep his mouth shut? Save Yi Han. He wasn't much better than her. How was he going to do that? Moreover, Yi Han was with Xueqing team. If they couldn't do anything, what good could he do? Cheng Fang thought of Feng Wu. He wondered why Feng Wu wouldn't help him. How could she be so relentless? With all those things spinning in his head, Cheng Fang pressed on hurriedly. Several times, the poor light made him fall. Soon, he was covered in bruises. But he didn't dare stop because if he did, he could become lost and die. He now saw how decisive Feng Wu was. Chapter 2697, Captain Jupiter. Cheng Fang knew that Feng Wu wouldn't come to his aid. It felt like he had been walking forever. When he thought he was going to die from exhaustion, he saw a dot of light in the distance. Meanwhile, Feng Wu and her teammates were walking in silence. No one made a sound, and the air felt stifling. Feng Wu suddenly stopped. The others were perplexed. Feng Wu frowned. There's trouble up ahead. The others asked, what trouble? Feng Wu couldn't say. All she knew was that the magic soul vine was stirring in her sleeve. The magic soul vine came from the Dongsang kingdom and would only stir when it detected people from Dongsang. Feng Wu frowned at the realization. If she was guessing correctly, the woman killed by the swordsman had come from the Dongsang kingdom, while now, she had run into more Dongsang people. The path went around a corner a few steps away. There was a crossroad. Feng Wu raised a hand, stopping the others. The others stopped and looked nervously at her. I heard something, Feng Wu whispered. Get ready for battle. The others tensed up. By now, they trusted Feng Wu completely and did as they were told. However, where was the enemy? They waited and waited, but no one turned up. Perplexed, they all turned to Feng Wu. There was a grave look on Feng Wu's face. She raised her fallen star sword and stared at a wall. The others looked at one another. Where was the enemy? It was only a wall. Was Feng Wu too on edge? They were in a tunnel that was only wide enough for two people to walk side by side. Feng Wu rearranged their positions. She stood on one side of the tunnel, and her teammates stood on the other side about 10 meters away from her. Time crawled by. Their minds began to wander when something happened. They saw shadows on the wall. They were silhouettes of people. There were at least 5 of them. Was it another team? But why were they inside the wall? They were in fact in the formation. Were they friend or foe? Feng Wu gave her teammates a warning look and took out some tear-inducing potion. The others nodded and held their breaths. They heard these people talking on the other side. It sounded like gibberish. Xiao Xiao and the others were baffled. What was that language? They couldn't understand a word. But Feng Wu could. That was the language of the Dongsang Kingdom. Feng Sang hadn't been there before, nor had she learned the language. However, she had refined the magic soul vine, which was one of the most potent magical plants in Dongsang. Afterward, she could understand the language. She listened to their conversation. We should stop talking in our own language. We need to blend in. Takino has a point. Our purpose is to infiltrate Junwu and obtain classified information. We were picked because we've studied their culture for years and can speak their language fluently. After we step out of here, we should behave like native people of Junwu. Remember that. Yes, Captain Jupiter. Chapter 2698, Spies. Takino? Captain Jupiter? Dongsang Kingdom. They were going to steal information from the Junwu Empire. Xiao Xiao and the others were astonished. They hadn't expected to eavesdrop on such a big secret. I heard we had a predecessor called the Revival List. Unfortunately, the participants are all dead. We're the reinforcements and will be under the command of General Fujihara. I heard the general has hidden well. So far, no one in the Junwu Empire has discovered his real identity. With him as our leader, we'll make great achievements. Too bad Ishida isn't with us here. They're out searching for the immortal spiritual fruit. Captain Jupiter, does the immortal spiritual fruit really exist? Captain Jupiter didn't reply. Instead, another member of the team answered. Of course it exists. However, I'm not sure if they can find it, or if they can preserve it after they find it. The immortal spiritual fruit is supposed to be able to bring people back from the dead. The queen is weak. If we can offer the fruit to our king, we'll be set for life. The immortal spiritual fruit. Feng Wu felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She had always been an open and above-board person. She hardly ever owed anyone anything, but there were two people whom she genuinely felt sorry for. One was her beautiful master, and the other one was Bao Er. That girl was growing weaker and weaker. If she had the immortal spiritual fruit, she would still have a little hope. Otherwise, she wouldn't live for much longer. Feng Wu was still eavesdropping when Captain Jupiter scolded the others. Enough with the small talk. We're about to leave the formation. I'll go out first. You guys follow me. Yes, Captain. The people of the Dongsang Kingdom were all about following orders. Everyone stopped talking after that. Feng Wu glanced at Xiao Xiao and the others. By then, they had realized how important this was, so they all raised their guard and nodded at Feng Wu, indicating that they were ready for battle. Feng Wu struck out when Captain Jupiter walked out of the formation from behind the wall. She grabbed him, covered his mouth and nose with one hand, and pinned his hands behind his back with the other. The potion she had smeared on her hand could easily knock someone out. Captain Jupiter was about on the same level as Feng Wu. She was a level 9 spiritual lord that had reached perfection, but Jupiter was already a level 1 spiritual king. However, Feng Wu had taken him by surprise. Together with the potion, the captain didn't know how to react to the attack. Feng Wu hit him in the neck, and Jupiter collapsed to the ground. One after another, Jupiter's team members walked out from behind the wall. Feng Wu took care of 4 of them, and her teammates captured the 5th. The tunnel was too narrow, so they took the Dongsang team to an opening a few hundred meters away. Once they got there, they dropped the spies on the ground and surrounded them. All 5 of them were awake, but the potion had made their eyes watery. Ooh! Jupiter was the first to realize what was going on. Chapter 2699, Imitation. He glared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu smiled. Who are you? Tell me your name. By then, Jupiter and his team members had recovered a little. They looked at one another, all feeling uneasy. Who would have thought? They had been so ambitious. However, they were captured before they could make a move. Jupiter gave his team a warning look before he smiled at Feng Wu. They knew the War Academy was nearby, so Jupiter hatched a plan when he saw Feng Wu and her team. "Who are you? Why are you doing this to us? We're students of the War Academy." He glared at Feng Wu. "Students of the War Academy." Feng Wu looked at their clothes. These people were prepared. They were wearing the uniform of Class A. "Are you our seniors from the War Academy?" Feng Wu smiled. "Which class are you in?" "We're from Class A. You're from Class B, right?" Jupiter said arrogantly. "We're your seniors. Let us go." Feng Wu looked them up and down. She had to admit that these Dongsang people were very fluent in the language of Junwo. They behaved like natives of the Junwo Empire, too. She wouldn't have been able to tell where they were from if she hadn't heard their earlier conversation. Xiao Xiao and the others were shocked. How could these people be so composed? With everything that was going on, they were still trying to pretend to be students of the War Academy. Feng Wu smiled at them. "Class A? What's your name?" "I'm Du Lu." Jupiter smirked. "Who are you?" "Du Lu." Feng Wu didn't know many people from Class A, so she looked at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao smiled wryly. "I do recognize that name. I think he's a member of a certain team." "We're an independent team." Jupiter glared at Feng Wu. "We've just returned from Peace Grassland. We were on a secret mission in the Dongsang Kingdom and barely came out alive. Is this the greeting we get after coming back home? You've attacked one of your own. This is treason." Jupiter sounded more confident as he went on. It was as if he really were Du Lu. If Feng Wu and the others hadn't heard their conversation, they would have been fooled since these people had consummate acting skills. Of course, that was only for ordinary people. With the magic soul vine, Feng Wu could identify a Dongsang man from a mile away. Feng Wu sighed and started talking. "I heard we had a predecessor called the Revival List. Unfortunately, the participants are all dead. We're the reinforcements and will be under the command of General Fujihara." Jupiter and his teammates paled. "I heard the general has hidden well. So far, no one in the Junwo Empire has discovered his real identity." Feng Wu was smiling at Jupiter's team when she said those words. "With him as our leader, we'll make great achievements." Chapter 2700. Amazing Girl. Too bad Ishida isn't with us here. They're out searching for the immortal spiritual fruit. Captain Jupiter, does the immortal spiritual fruit really exist? Feng Wu didn't simply repeat the conversation. She accurately mimicked their tones as well. Jupiter and his team members stared at Feng Wu in astonishment. They felt angry and defeated at the same time. They were angry because the girl had seen through their disguise but was still mocking them. They felt defeated because right up to the moment Feng Wu showed up, they had been confident that they were going to make outstanding achievements. Jupiter then gave his teammates a warning look. They nodded at him. The next moment, they tried to crush the poison hidden in their tooth. These spies had emptied their molars before they came here and hidden the poison in the hollow tooth. If they were caught, they could bite down, crush the poison and kill themselves before they were interrogated. Other people might not be able to stop these spies, but Feng Wu wasn't just anyone. She had seen it coming, which was why she had used the potion. She had enhanced the formula and added some weakening ingredients. As a result, the spies didn't have the strength to bite down. Jupiter noticed it too. He stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. "What did you do?" Feng Wu crouched down with a half-smile. "You tried to impersonate a senior student, and when we saw through your disguise, you tried to kill yourselves. You must be dreaming if you think you can get away so easily." Feng Wu patted Jupiter's cheek. "I won't let any of you die before you tell me everything you know." Xiao Xiao whispered to Feng Wu. He pretended to be Du Lu. "Does that mean Du Lu is?" Feng Wu nodded gravely. "Don't worry. I'll make them tell me everything." Xiao Xiao nodded. Feng Wu sneered at Jupiter. "The truth is, I don't have too much time to ask questions. I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell me everything voluntarily. Jupiter smirked and looked away. Fengwu said, "Is that a no?" Jupiter raised his chin. Fengwu said, "Fine. I'll start with washing off the makeup on your face." She gave Xiao Xiao some potion. Wipe away the disguise on their faces. They had tied up Jupiter's team, so Xiao Xiao was able to remove the disguise from their faces. Jupiter was shocked. It had taken Master Mu Yen a lot of effort to draw these new faces on them. She had said that no water could wash it off. The makeup could only be removed by a concoction made by Mu Yen herself. No one else on this continent could do it. That was why they were convinced that they could impersonate the real students. But now, Jupiter couldn't lie to himself anymore when he saw his teammates' real faces. Their cover was blown. Who is this teenage girl? How could she remove Master Mu Yan's disguise? Chapter 27:01 Mu Yen, the Great Doctor. How could she remove Master Mu Yan's disguise? Jupiter worshipped Mu Yen for her exceptional medical skills, but he had begun to panic. Fengwu said casually, "I want to know the truth as soon as possible. Sorry about this." She then handed a box to Xiao Xiao. Inside are 5 bottles of truth serum. Do you know what that is? Truth serum? The others were amazed. They weren't stupid, and of course, they knew what that was. Students could purchase the serum with their points in the academy, but usually, no one was dumb enough to buy it. The serum was insanely expensive. The students would rather use the points on their own cultivation instead of buying some useless potion. It wasn't as if they would be interrogating people every other day. However, the truth serum was going to be very useful today. Jupiter smirked at Fengwu. The Dongsang Kingdom had similar potions as well. They were much better at medical refinement. The same went with formations. Despite being a much stronger country, the Junwo Empire lagged behind in these aspects. It was also why Dongsang, a small kingdom, dared to wage war against the Junwo Empire. Xiao Xiao saw a smirk on Jupiter's face. "What are you sneering at?" Xiao Xiao frowned. Jupiter opened his mouth. "Give me the truth serum. Bring it on." Ling Hao frowned and wondered why the man didn't seem scared. Is he immune to the serum? Takino smirked inwardly. Mu Yen had used the truth serum on them before they came here, and had only let them set out when they could resist the serum. Therefore, they weren't afraid of it. Of course, they weren't going to tell Fengwu and her team that. They thought they could fool Fengwu and make her believe she had gotten the truth out of them. Just then, Fengwu said, "Take those 3 to the other side." Only Jupiter and Takino were left behind. Fengwu glanced at Takino, who seemed very pleased with himself. Xiao Xiao then poured the serum into Takino's mouth. The whole bottle. Takino drank it all. At first, he remained arrogant. But that demeanor didn't last long. He then started talking. He used the language of the Dongsang Kingdom. Jupiter frowned. Had Takino gone crazy? He shouldn't be saying those things. Luckily, his enemy didn't understand the language. However, what Fengwu said surprised him. "Someone tried the truth serum on you, right?" Takino said, "Yes." Fengwu smiled. "Who was it?" Takino said, "Master Mu Yen." Fengwu asked, "Who's that?" "Shut up! Shut up!" Jupiter shouted at Takino. Takino was lucid for a split second, and he glared at Fengwu. However, the serum soon took control of him again. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.